Welcome back. As always, I'm Carl with Targets with Attitude, absent-minded professor of knives and all things sharp. Sit back, grab your pens and paper. Class is about to begin. First, a little bit of syllabus work, as always. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do so. Why? Well, if you love knives and all things outdoors, you must or you wouldn't be watching this video. It's a great way to keep up with what I'm doing. I'll give you new knives just about every week, or at least something dealing with knives in the great outdoors. Alright, it's simple enough. Just hit that button right down there. That gets you subscribed. Then you hit the bell next to it. Get you notified every time I put up a new video. Put them up once a week. Most times on Fridays, though occasionally something happens and I have to do it on Saturday. It's a win-win situation. You win because you know whenever I put up something new for you to check out. I win because the more subscribers I get, the easier it is for me to get some neat new stuff to show you. So go ahead. You can do it anytime during the video. Don't have to do it right now. Plus there's a button floating around here somewhere that, actually I think it's over. No. Well, it's floating around somewhere. You just go ahead and click that anytime during the video and you can subscribe also. But what do I have for you today? Something a little different. This one I've had for about 4, maybe 5 years. It's a custom knife made by Gerald Drew. His company name is Gerald Drew Knives. You can see he's got it stamped right on the blade there with the anvil. That's his mark, excuse me. This one is what's called forge finish, which means he didn't remove all the forging marks before when he went to do the grinds. Not all of his knives are forged. He spent 20-some years doing mainly stock removal, but his knives they have such great feel, beautiful leather sheaths that he makes himself. This one matches the handle quite a bit well, as you can tell. Now this knife was a gift, so I'm not sure what type of wood that is. Could be curly maple. Could be a couple other things, but it's beautiful. Beautifully shaped. Very traditional. Mr. Drew advertises his knives as hunting knives made by a knife maker who hunts. And yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a knife, just about 4 inches of blade. Actually, let's go ahead. Got a tape measure here. Let's see exactly how long that blade is, and it is. Yeah, we've got exactly 4 inches of blade with 4 1/4 inches of handle for a total length of right at 8 3/8 inches overall. So it's not a huge knife, but it's very comfortable in the hand, very sweet. As I say, I've had this for about 4 years, and I've never once had to sharpen it. That's the nice thing about custom knife making, or custom knives, if you can afford them. And Gerald Drew knives are a little bit more affordable than most custom knives. As I say, this one was a gift to me from my wife, but I've seen similar knives from Mr. Drew which are going for right around 160, 175, somewhere in there. So let's see how it does, shall we? Let's see here. For a piece of paper that hasn't been too beat up. Here we go. Yeah, as I said, I've had this 4 years. Never sharpened it. So keep that in mind. Name me a production knife that, after 4 years without sharpening, can do that. I don't know of any. It's very, very sweet. It is designed as a hunting knife. But if you're going to use it hunting, you're going to be using it in camping as well. Let's see how it handles cardboard. That thick spine hangs up a little bit, but it sure... Yeah, I cut that standard corrugated cardboard beautifully. Well, okay. Hung up a little bit too much there, but still. And let's see here. Gold Peak tea bottle. Very heavy. Plastic, heavier than most hang packages. Let's say you forget to open up something until you get to the field and then realize that you need it. Maybe it's a new magazine for your rifle, or maybe you've got to put a new strap on your rifle and it's still in the hang packaging. Okay. Took a little bit to go through, but once it's through, as I say, that's with a slightly rounded tip and 4 years without ever being sharpened. Cleaned, yes. Sharpened, no. Paracord. Let's see here. You might have to cut some new lines for your tent, or maybe you need to run a length of paracord up to your tree stand to raise and lower your rifle so that you're not actually climbing with it on your back. Not exactly a safe way to get into your tree stand, especially if your tree stand's as high as the one I normally use. And yeah, this is taking care of paracord. Nobody's business. Let's see here. Leather. This is, after all, a hunting knife made by a knife maker who hunts. That's how it handles heavy cowhide. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm reasonably happy with the way it's handling that. It'll skin your deer, or it'll cut your new laces from lengths of hide without any problem. That's for sure. Now, let's say you're getting ready to set up camp for the night, or you just get in and you're ready to set up camp. You need to do a bit of bushcraft. Well, let's see here. Whittling it up nicely. Let's see how it does with this. That's just with my hand. And I'm not seeing any deformation of that blade. Even after all the use I've put it through. Just gorgeous. One other thing. Zip ties. I'll use these to strengthen and repair things that need to be tied to a pack frame. I'll use them to hold things together while I'm doing some work on them. In the house, I use them all the time for tying cables together or holding things together until I'm ready for them. Sounds like my... Excuse me, I need to see what's going on with my son. Okay, sorry about the slight interruption there. Where were we? Oh yes, zip ties. As I say, these things are just come in handy all over the place. Normally you cut them with a pair of diagonal cutters or wire cutters. Let's see how this knife does. Right through. If you need to trim it short. Not quite as nicely, but got a slight recurve there, but not enough to really... Whoops. Okay, well, you know, it cut it that time, but it also launched it off into space, so... Tough thing, zip ties, but it doesn't look like it's done any damage. So let's get that piece of paper back here. And let's see here. There we go. Yeah, maybe not quite as nice as I'd like, but okay, that edge is doing much better. Yeah. There you have it. A hunter from Gerald Drew Knives. Gerald L. Drew. People ask why spend the money for custom knives. As I said, I've had this 4 years. It's never been sharpened. Look how well it did on our tests. Yeah, you're going to pay more for custom knife work. This thing is just gorgeous. It just fits the hand beautifully, either hand. It's not bad at reverse. Not that it's a fighting knife, mind you, but still. I saw it made short work of that heavy cowhide. Hunting knives from a knife maker that hunts. Worth every penny in my... Excuse me. Worth every penny in my opinion. But I hope you enjoyed. Hope you found something interesting in all this. By the way, the sheath works beautifully. And it's just gorgeous. Every bit as gorgeous as the knife. So there you have it. Obviously, I can't sell Drew knives. The only place you're going to get a Drew knife is from Gerald Drew Knife Company and maybe a few places that specialize in one-off knives, which Fortunately, at the moment, I can't afford to. That may change someday. In the meantime, I got a lot to do today, so I'll wish you luck. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something new. And remember, if you're going to do something, no matter how major or how minor, even if it's just drooling over a knife you can barely afford, do it with attitude. See you now. Bye.